Lisa, we're ready.
Perfect.
Alrighty, it's 5 p.m. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Alright, we'll begin with the pledge. Everybody will stand. Brett, you want to listen to the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no delegation, so we'll move into reports. We have no reports, so I guess we'll go on to the consent agenda. Start with the minutes, I assume.
Make a motion to approve the August 14th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the August 14th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, Chrissy, where does the treasurer's report?
I have the schedule of checks, which you have. Do you have any questions on this? Okay. And then Steve has also been doing a lot of budget cleanups and moving projects in a more specified, easier to recognize account. So he's moved step 7 and also the levy. There were 7 or 8 levy funds out there, and he's cleaned them up to 3. And it's attached as well.
I don't understand all that yet, but
Okay.
I will.
That summary sheet helped me a lot more
Yeah.
on than those back pages, because I just kind of get that glance and overview and can see.
I think originally in step 7, everything was just summarized as just like in one category, and he's broken it out to like stipends and textbooks, and it's more defined projects, so we can see where the money is and how much is in there. And then he did the same thing with levy.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. Is there any further discussion of that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Alright, we'll move into new business and start with contract approval for speech language pathologist.
This is additional speech language pathologist on a contracted basis, mostly for our high school age students. And you have a copy of that contract and such there, but it would be on a limited time basis for a lot fewer kids than what we've approved the first elementary based contracted speech services for.
Make a motion to approve the contracted speech services for the this is just going to be next year or 23-24?
It would just be the school year 24, which would be this whole year.
Okay. 2024 school year is presented by the superintendent.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the contracted speech services for the 2024 school year as presented by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion on that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Alright, we'll move on to contract approval for occupational therapy service.
This is just another one of those therapy services that we've been contracting out. We looked at these services and we could go with local folks like same as what we did with the speech. And we were able to obtain those services, and we think that these services, just like speech, are going to be more quality services for our students for the 2024 school year.
Make a motion to approve the contracted occupational therapy services for the 2024 school year.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the contracted occupational therapy services for the 2024 school year. Is there any further discussion to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to the educational leave request.
This is just a standard educational leave request that, just need a motion to approve that request for educational leave.
I make a motion to approve the educational leave request.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the educational leave request. Is there any further discussion of that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Right, we'll move into old business and go to teacher stipends and extracurricular academic duties.
So I was asked to look into extracurricular academic programming. And long story short, I worked with the high school principals, I've worked with different teachers, I've worked with, all of our folks that represent where most of these are coming from, even elementary school teachers, I believe. Got some input there on some different programming that we could include. What I decided to do was to try to put together a resolution for you guys to vote on, and I'm going to just go over that resolution here. This is the Gilmer County Board of Education Extracurricular Academic Program Resolution. It says, whereas Gilmer County Schools will post positions and pay extracurricular stipends to individual teachers willing to take on duties through an extracurricular contract yearly to work with Gilmer County students at Gilmer County High School in co-curricular and academic-based programming. Whereas Gilmer County Schools will apply a stipend based on extracurricular hourly pay for each position. Each position must be approved in advance, I see a typo there, posted and hired by the local school and recommended by the district superintendent. Gilmer County Schools will follow the following hourly salary schedule for hours estimated to perform extracurricular activities. So we're looking at, if you would do 10 hours, say your academic extracurricular activity would take 10 total hours, it would be a $300 stipend. If it was 20, it would be $600, 30 would be $900, 40 would be $1,200, and 50 additional hours of work outside the day would be $1,500. Whereas in order to maintain an extracurricular position, significant enrollment in the program must be maintained throughout the year and during the academic and extracurricular activities. The position must be posted annually. If there is not enough student participation, the position may be eliminated. Whereas extracurricular academic funding for all positions must not exceed the district annual levy call amount of $10,000. Whereas Gilmer County Schools will begin the following positions and payment for the recommended extracurricular academic positions: student government, student council, $1,200, National Honor Society, $600, math field day coach, coordinator, $600, social studies fair coordinator, $600, spelling bee coordinator, $600, elementary music, $1,200, junior Appalachian music program coordinator, $3,000. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gilmer County Board of Education approve and adopt the said resolution to serve as the Gilmer County Schools extracurricular academic and co-curricular program. Dated for this day. This is the start. We have money left over. There can be additional things, but this is just the start of what we could see that we could put money to. So this was the easiest way for me to create the program and get a whole program in front of you guys to vote on. So there's around $7,000 there, and we can expand on that if we found some additional programming that we wanted to. And the last one there, the Junior Appalachian Music, that's something that we're trying to start. I don't know if we can get it started or not, but I thought that might be a good place to take the funding for, because it's going to be an extracurricular academic program. Any suggestions or discussions?
Of what to add to the list, is that what you're asking?
Well, I mean, I think those will come naturally. I think people will
Yeah,
create things.
I think people get interested in when they start new
Yeah.
clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody mentioned robotics.
Yeah, that's, I could see, an engineering club, Project Lead the Way. It's hard to tell what might come out of all of these things, and some clubs might change. We might realize we don't have the need for spelling bee, and then the next year just use that funding for something else.
That was gonna be my question. What happens when we get to that $10,000 threshold? Like, what?
Well, we'd have to come back with you guys and allocate more funding to it, which is okay too, but right now, we've got the money built into the levy call.
So is this hours per school year?
This would be per school year. If you take a look at say the spelling bee. It's a couple days work, full couple days, and somebody get paid to do that.
I saw that social studies and science fair. I know what teachers go through to set up judges and everything. I mean, there's a lot of work.
There's a lot of extra time, extra work, and, you know, we need to reward folks for doing that extra work. And, you know, those are estimates.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, when we hire for this, we're estimating that's, 20 hours. or more.
Yeah, we'll just,
So if it comes back, say they're doing things and they're far exceeding that, then what's the steps to?
I think probably the following year we increase that to whatever kind of, you know, hourly rate that they have. And we can come back and vote on that. You know, if they're putting 150 hours into something, that's a lot of extra. A couple hours a week for 36 weeks. That's 60. I mean, so it's flexible. It gives us a kind of a rate to go by with the amount of time somebody's specific.
And I think it's a great place to start, and we can always make adjustments as we find things we need to adjust. And, I mean, I hope that it, encourages teachers to innovate and come up with new ideas, and encourages more kids to be involved and find things that they're interested in.
And I think we talked about this before, I don't see it necessarily stated in here, but just the outline, obviously we're pre-approving a certain list and we'll have to, if we want to add to it, are we voting on that as they come up? And is there a criteria for what meets the funding and what counts as this particular extracurricular versus, I think we had some discussion there and making sure it has to meet some
what we
education
plan to
requirements.
do is set some guidelines. We want to have, we don't want to have some extracurricular activity we have one kid in. We want to make sure there's some students, it's benefiting some students, 5, 10, 15 kids, and make sure that there is a survey amount of students that want to participate before we would start that.
But it's also educational related, right? More so,
Yes.
like we're not gonna have model trainings.
Yes, that's academic based.
Which I'm just saying the only thing I don't see here is specific criteria, but would that be a subsequent policy later? Or, I know we have to approve these positions.
Right, it would be, you guys would be able, in order to obtain a new one of these programs. What I would hope that, based off of the way that I kind of wrote this, is they would come with you with a proposal, and then you'd say, we got 15 kids that want to do engineering after school. Let's create an engineering program, after school program. And then we expand on our middle school and high school after school program. And then we can pay a stipend of $2,000. This is just an example, $2,000 to do that engineering program.
I'm good with that. Make a motion to approve the resolution of Gilmer County Board of Education extracurricular academic program.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the resolution of the Gilmer County Board of Education's extracurricular academic program. Is there any further discussion to the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we'll move into personnel. Dr. Manning.
Under the professional side, we have resignation interventionist, GCHS, Jesse Moore. Probably need. I'll do that one.
Yeah, I recommend making a motion to approve Jesse Moore's resignation pending the filing of his position and all other positions that are left vacant due to his position being filled before this release from his current contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Move into service.
Actually,
Oh,
there's one
we're
more.
more professional, sorry.
The professional accountant, I want to make the recommendation to approve Devin Paxson as a professional accountant with a salary term of 250 days and the Gilmer County Schools Professional Accountant Supplement of $2,000 for the 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Okay, been properly moved and seconded to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the professional accountant position. Is there any further discussion to that main motion?
Yes, Devin, I'm agreeing to this in hopes that you'll teach Dr. Minnie here a little bit about the game of golf of your stay here in these 250 days.
That's probably going to be a lot harder than the job itself. I can promise you that.
Right.
No further comments.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Congratulations, Devin.
Thank you.
All right.
And I just wanted to take a moment and recognize Devin and introduce him to the board. He's going to be working with you guys just alongside with Christy. And I wanted to have him here so you can see a face and so on and so forth. So we welcome Devin to the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, service. Recommendation, Joseph McCann, bus operator. Brandy Castile, special education classroom transportation aide, Gilmer County High School.
Make a motion to approve the service portion of the personnel agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the service portion of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion to that main motion?
Well, there's one more recommendation there that I
So we'll amend that to approving Joseph McCann as bus operator and Randy Castillo as special education classroom transportation.
All right, is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
All righty, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve Joseph McCann as bus operator and Brandy Castile as special education classroom transportation aide for Gilmer County High School West, stated by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
The next is additional salary supplement for multi-class service personnel classified as executive secretary / coordinator. Due to the ongoing addition of job duties and responsibilities to the executive secretary coordinator role, I recommend adding an additional supplemental pay for this multi-class service personnel job. The new duties, and I know you guys are familiar with Neola and how many hours this stuff's going to take and how many extra hours everybody's working on this. And we've got teams of people working on this. But this person would be over the quarterly and yearly updates to the Neola policy manual in coordination with the Gilmer County Schools Policy Manual Committee. So this person would be leading that committee. It will be taking, after we get all of this set, that person will be leading that process by marking the policies that come out new. And there's a lot of policies on an annual basis. That's one thing. The second thing is the personnel management on the frontline management system. There's a lot of additional work that goes into that system, a lot of after hours. There's a lot of checking that system on a constant basis. So that would be somebody that would manage and post and submit all of that stuff at any given time on the frontline management system. This person would also be coordinating the certified list with the finance department. Of course, we're one less in the finance department. We used to have 3, now we've got 2. Thanks to Devin, we've got 2. This person would also be working on that certified list coordination. Also, the Board of Ed calendars, newsletter, update, reflections, those types of things of the superintendent, they would be maintaining that. And coordination, this is one thing we got to get back to, and it's been my fault as much as anybody, but coordination on board docs. We want to eventually change on board docs. This person would be running board docs, and it's needed. We have probably said the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's been 3 or 4 times when we've wanted to research things that we've been taking time that we could have just quickly got it on board docs. Yeah. So those would be some of the additional duties that take up a significant time inside and outside of the workday, and mostly outside the workday, especially when it comes to that policy manual coordination. So due to those additional responsibilities added to the position, and we have added those responsibilities on, I'd like to make the recommendation to provide an additional $12,000 supplement to multi-class service personnel classified as executive secretary / coordinator of administrative services, in addition to their current supplement that they are currently offered on their salary.
I make a motion to provide as lined out by the superintendent, the supplement to the multi-class service personnel.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion of that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we're into extracurricular.
Extracurricular, I've got Andrea Russell, auxiliary Union Titan volleyball coach. Make that recommendation. James Huffman, head varsity wrestling coach. Danny Smith, resignation, elementary basketball coach, 2nd and 3rd grade. Jesse Moore, resignation, head varsity basketball coach. Sydney Naughton, homebound instructor. Annetta Huffman, homebound instructor.
I recommend making a motion to approve the extracurricular personnel recommendation.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the extracurricular personnel recommendation as stated by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Lastly, substitute teacher recommendations, Leanne Halls and Michael Jackson.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the substitute teacher personnel recommendation.
Second.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's one more section. Excuse me, there's one more on the back.
All right, so it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the substitute teacher personnel recommendations as stated by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion of that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
One last section. Sorry, I misspoke. Substitute aid, we have an additional substitute aid. Recommend Alexis Long.
Make a motion to approve substitute aid. The substitute aid is stated by
Is there a second? All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the substitute aid personnel recommendation as stated by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Okay, we will now move into continuous improvement, data review, test scores.
And I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. West. She's worked very hard on putting our test data together. We have some areas of improvement. We have some areas of significant growth. And we're very excited about what this year holds. I'll turn it over to Mrs. West and she can give you all the update on what happened with our student achievement this past year.
You each should have received a copy of the assessment plan. Page 1 is the calendar for the year, and as you can see, there's a lot of assessment that takes place in the county all year. There were changes made to that calendar as of today. So the Golden Horseshoe has been updated. There is an essay portion now, as well as the online assessment piece. So those dates are there. That will continue to be updated as our district testing coordinator, Tracy DeWall, receives updates on assessment. So, but that's the most current for you. And then the rest of the booklet gives explanations as to the various tests, who administers, who takes the assessments, and if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. This is also online, and Mrs. DeWall will be posting it to the website for assessment transparency as well, so our families, communities can receive it. Looking specifically at the data from Gilmer County Schools, you should have received a copy of the presentation. Things to know when we're looking at this data. The data we're sharing is for our students in grades 3 through 8 on the West Virginia Summative Assessment from the spring of 2023. The data also includes our 11th grade SAT scores. Students included in this data were enrolled in Gilmer County Schools during the 22-23 school year for a minimum of 130 instructional days. So if they joined us in February and took the assessment, that was not 130 instructional days. So that's something to keep in mind. The data includes English language arts, which includes reading, grammar, writing, and the math and science. When you start looking at data, we could spend hours digging and digging to compare various aspects of the data. In fact, Mrs. DeWall and I scheduled a 1-hour meeting. The next thing we knew, it was 3 hours. So when you begin digging, you can go for quite some time. For those who are interested in looking at our data across the state, the site to visit is ZoomWV, which you can simply Google that, or the web address is zoomwv.k12.westvirginia.us.
That'll give our rankings in too.
So these are the images you will come to. So the first image there, once you're at Zoom WV, you will choose which data you want to look at. Do you want to look at graduation data, attendance data, or assessment results? And that's the one we're going to look at this evening. As you look at the different images there, it's the one that has the bar graphs. And so once you select that circle with the bar graphs for state assessment results, then you go to the upper left corner and you can begin filtering. You can look at this year, statewide, last year, multiple years. You can dig down into counties. You can even go to schools, to counties. So those filters help us to, that's where the digging begins. And the 1 hour becomes 3 hours. So here is the data for Gilmer County. ELA, reading, grammar, and writing in the spring of 23. The red bars are for the West Virginia state data, and the blue is Gilmer data. And as you can see, our third grade outscored the state in proficiency. Overall, third graders in West Virginia, 40% of them were proficient in the third grade, while 44% in Gilmer County third grade.
This is last year's third grade.
This is spring, yes, so it is this year's current fourth grade, yes. And then if we compare to last year's data to see if there was growth, the data from the previous school year, 21-22, yes, Gilmer County students, if you average it across the county, there was a growth of 1.5% in ELA proficiency. And again, these are tables that Mrs. DeWall helped to create as our district testing coordinator. Then in the math, our third and fifth graders outscored the state in the spring. And again, you can see third grade proficiency across the state for third grade was 52, while in Gilmer County, 58% of our third graders were proficient in math. Our fourth grade and our 11th grade missed the mark by 1%. So we were very close to that state proficiency. If we look at last year's data from General Summative and SAT, you can see again and compare 21-22 to 22-23. Across Gilmer County, there was a growth of 1.7% proficiency in math. So there is growth, and growth is good. When we go to the science, our 11th graders outscored the state, and both our 5th and 7th grader, or 8th graders, oh, that's a typo, 8th graders were not far behind. These are the only grade levels that are assessed in science. So that was spring of 23. And if we compare it to a year ago, again, there was an increased growth across all three grade levels of an average 9.85%. Wow. Growth is good. Good things are happening in science. That is very good. Very good. Mrs. Hickman is here. Now, if you go back to the Zoom, you can scroll down under the bar graphs and you can come to this line. And the reason we chose this image is so you can see pre-COVID and now we are post-COVID. And so we are back to where we were pre-COVID. And now the goal is to go higher. So growth is taking place. Growth is taking place. As a county, we have set proficiency growth rates at 7%. So whereas it was 1.5 and 1.7, we need to go 7% across the county. Science did that. At the individual schools, we want to highlight growth. So for Gilmer County Elementary, our 3rd through 5th graders in the ELA proficiency, they had a growth of 8.6%. In math, our 3rd through 5th graders had a proficiency growth of 11.3%. And in science, 5th grade science, proficiency growth of 8% increase. We also want to highlight the science growth at Gilmer County High School. The 11th graders, the science proficiency growth was 16%. I believe the state sets the goal at 2% across the board. So you can see we certainly are achieving higher there than 2%. But again, as a county, we have set the goal at 7%. So again, these growth rates are proving that yes, Gilmer County schools, we can reach the goals that have been set. And so how are we going to achieve that? We're going to work on monitoring our college and career readiness standards-based instruction, preschool through the 12th grade. We have an implementation this year of iReady benchmarks happening grades K through 12, 3 times per year. In fact, we're in the first benchmark right now. Implementation of 30 to 45 minutes of iReady personalized instruction in grades K through 8th, and that's happening weekly. And administrators are monitoring that to make sure that we're not overusing, that students who are pulled out for services, that they're not using it and then coming back to the general ed and using, but we're monitoring that 30 to 45. Do not overuse it, but make sure we are using it to fidelity. Then the use of non-summative assessments in ELA, math, and science, grades 3 through 8. Daily, bell ringers and problems of the day. Module assessments, once we teach those college and career readiness standards, we should be assessing. And then teachers will be creating assessments this year based on those college and career readiness standards. So those are just a few of the ways we're going to reach that 7% growth goal. Any questions?
I'm ready to leave the state of West Virginia behind, so.
The only question I have is just around the 7th and 8th grade in math, because that's probably the only, good news on most of this stuff. That seems to be the hardest hit, where the state's 28 and then 8th grade is 10.
Middle schools.
It's one of those areas, first of all, coming off of COVID, that's one thing. It's one of those areas that is what we're racking our brain for right now. We are out working with the teachers, creating plans as we speak on how we can improve those scores. The teachers have came up with several different models that they believe might be something that would work and reverse some of that. We also have a math adoption coming up this year. We have a math curriculum adoption that we're excited about. We're going to be choosing new math curriculum. So we're excited that's going to make, we're going to be able to see some growth off of that itself. And then we also have, this is the first full go of benchmarking and assessment that we've had with the new iReady math that we've had. So
that was kind of my next question, because 7th grade, so the 8th graders in the 2022 report to 2023, they were at par, slightly above state, and then they had a massive drop off. But that was my other question was, is this based on new testing too? What happened between, and obviously we're not going to see these 8th graders because now they're 9th graders and there's no testing.
well, there's actually, we will, there's not in this report, but we are monitoring those 9th graders. They will be taking the PSAT and they'll have a math score and we'll be working with them. But we're putting together kind of the game plan currently with the middle school folks, with the curriculum folks. We will be seeing some different changes within those programs. Benchmarking alone will help. We've already obtained a lot of the benchmark data, the benchmark right now through the assessment window. So those teachers are going to have that data and we'll be able to go back and work with those students for a full year.
But my guess is there's some, whatever is additional, the new math concepts that are at 8th grade too. So I understand that stuff changes through as you progress from 7th to 8th, and you introduce different algebras.
Well, and I think a little bit of that is you have to remember where these kids were when COVID hit and they missed out.
I understand. I just thought it was interesting that they went from slightly above to significantly below.
One thing with math though that I think is a positive of the county. You can look at the scores at the elementary level are actually higher in math than what they are in
Right.
reading, and that's kind of an anomaly across. So we think if we can get these kids with basic skills coming from the elementary, which I think we're seeing an improvement there, and then utilize the new benchmarking and get those students to flow into the middle school curriculum and maybe even a new math curriculum, that we can make a difference.
Well, the key is the elementary.
I can't
Help
praise
those
the
kids in
elementary
middle school
enough.
now.
The elementary, when you see a 7, 8, 9% growth, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, I use the term breakout. Now Tyson doesn't want to say breakout, but I think that's a pretty good breakout
Makes
year.
me
If you can do that year after year, it's going to be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be negative or focus on, I think it is strategically long-term, important focus on elementary school. I just was concerned a little bit about the massive difference, 7th to 8th happened there, as long as it's being focused on, and
That's definitely.
that's the more tactical.
We're working with the math teachers, we're working with, you know, our curriculum folks, and that's definitely going to be a major push, what we come up with for, you know, our curriculum and our benchmarking and how we respond to that.
And I reviewed minutes from board meetings a year ago, if I may share just a few other things that Mrs. Mason would have shared with you. Parent involvement at Gilmer County Elementary School with Title I. We hosted the open house. Several folks came through and received lots of information. We have a lot of parents that were not aware of the app. And so Mrs. DeWall again shared that technology tool that is available to them. We are getting ready for Grandparents' Day at the elementary school. So those invitations went home today, and hoping to host grandparents on September 11th.
Are we splitting that up any? Sorry.
Splitting that up, how?
Splitting maybe grades and levels. Have they thought about doing? You thought about doing that? I remember we talked about it last year because there was so much participation at the grade school last year. Parking, like by the time grandparents actually got in, it was like, "Hey, how you doing, little one?" And then had to leave. So we talked about splitting that up.
We hadn't remembered that part of it. I think one part of it will be get the doors open. What is it?
I said, that's
Like a
what we
vault, baby. Don't forget.
That's what we got, that's what we got Brett for.
But if anybody sees my wedding ring around, I lost it this past week.
Two things that we'll do that will accommodate that. We'll move our parking, our staff parking over to the ground. That allows for the grandparents to have the parking lot. And then we can expedite getting them in by getting the doors open, getting them in the building as quickly as we can. So hopefully they can show up. I mean, I know that sometimes they'll drag it.
And after school begins next Tuesday, so we're gearing up for that at the elementary, middle school, high school. Pre-Ks joined us today. So we had a very successful first day with our preschoolers. Mentoring will begin. We have 2 new teachers that will be mentoring this year, and that will be 4 meetings throughout the year. First one will be Thursday.
After school, what age groups? What does that start at?
Begins with kindergarten. If they're currently in kindergarten, they can stay for after school. And then the Gilmer Grab and Go, the mobile unit, we had it out again this Saturday. We took it around in August 21st. The 4th Saturday of August, we had it out in the communities. We traveled to Rosedale, Normantown, Tanner, Troy, Sand Fork, all in a day. And we had 21 children and 15 adults in August. And this past Saturday, we had 15 children and 7 adults. All of the adults were different. We did not have anyone repeat. But children, we had 35 total that have visited the mobile unit on those Saturdays. So it was exciting to see some folks out at Rosedale this past Saturday. So we're utilizing that mobile unit.
Ms.
Thank
West, do you have anything
No,
else?
that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we'll move in superintendent's update.
Just a few little things. I just said, I walked out and observed the pre-K classroom. Very few tears, a few. They were in there. It looks like, they were doing what the pre-K
So the
classroom
parents are the
does.
moms.
I tell you, I am very impressed with both schools. I've talked with both sets of principals. We've had a good, smooth start to the school year, and so a lot of those types of issues that I feel that have come up, we've been able to work through those, and our kids seem to be in a good spot. I wanted to congratulate the football team. That was a big win against Calhoun County, and it's always good when all of those things start off well for the district. Still working on the JAG grant. It's due very, very soon. I'm very hopeful, but I do have a backup plan if we can't get the juvenile assistant grant to maybe start looking at an SRO program with the board. I did get word today that our Project Aware grant, the state's Project Aware portion was not approved. So they did not get the grant, but there is other funding and they're going to be contacting me with that. So it's not a total loss. There's still funding out there available. So I just wanted to fill you guys in on that. That's one of the things that we worked on with our substance abuse and prevention program framework. Project Connect, we've met. We're trying to put together a kind of a press pack for how we develop our logo, our letterheads, and the things that we utilize to get things to the newspaper, get things out on social media. You can see there's been a lot of stuff come out lately. New teachers are out there now. We're just constantly meeting, figuring out what needs to get out there. Those folks are probably watching this right now. So, you know, they take all these things and then find a way to report out. We've got a lot of stuff that we plan on getting out there in front of the community, and it's what we found to be really good, another way to parent involvement. We've identified in our analytics that, it is being used. We got thousands of people using our sites and seeing our posts and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. That is working. I've been assigned to do a mentor. Her name's Deborah Baker. She's been a superintendent for many, many years down in the southern part of the state. She's recently retired, and I'll be going to new superintendent training again this year. So I've been kind of lucky where I get trained up twice. And then I just wanted to do a reminder that the week after that is our West Virginia School Board Association day that we go down and receive training on all of the different hot topics that they'll give us in Charleston. So also I just wanted to give a quick update. I'm going on the 12th in the evening with our Teacher of the Year candidate to the banquet in Charleston to represent Gilmer County Schools there at that banquet. Animal processing is still on track. It seems like it's coming along. They've got the epoxy floor in there. It looks good. They've got parts of the freezers in there. It's starting to look good. The shop is coming together. He's got very nice welding booths. Those things are all looking very good. So we're on track with that building project, and just wanted to give you a quick update on that. I filled out a new monthly matrix. I don't know if you guys are good with that. If you've got another format that you'd like for me to use with that communication, just let me know. But you've been noticing on Facebook, we've got the week at a glances coming out from the schools. So, I mean, everybody's aware of what's up, what's going on, what's coming up on the week ahead. I'm doing that too. They're taking some of that stuff that I'm doing, and everybody's sharing out that information. And it seems like we're all well communicated, and things are going in the right direction. So if there's anything else you guys need from me, just let me know. But we've had a pretty good smooth start, and that's all I've got.
All right, we'll move into board member comments. Brett, you got anything?
No, sir.
Dr. Melvin?
I'd just like to say that I'm very pleased to see Gilmer County harmonious and singing Kumbaya and working towards getting better proficiency data every day for our children and providing well-educated and well-trained workforce for the future. After all, we need people to take care of us when we're old.
Mr. Freischauer. Dr. Brawley.
Just a couple of real quick things. With the Calhoun-Gilmer Career Center, we had a meeting the day after our last school board meeting. So just a couple of updates. I think last time I updated you all, we talked about how they were going to be ending the law and public safety program out there. It has been granted a reprieve, and we are currently welcoming the new law and public safety instructor, Ben Huffman, formerly of the Sheriff's Department in the city of Glenville. Unfortunately, that comes with some bad news. Mr. McCormick is leaving.
Oh,
Mr. McCormick, who was in charge of the
Culinary.
the culinary arts and built such an incredible program out there. He's going to the dark side. He's going to the Department of Education. So we'll miss him, and that'll be a big void to fill. The summer camps at the Career Center, the numbers were slightly down, but they were still very successful. They had all kinds of cool camps, and all the participants got some neat free stuff to take with them. Like in the robotics camp, they were all provided with free drones, which was kind of cool. I'm told through the entirety of the camp, they only wrecked 3 drones. So I'd say that's good. I think that's an improvement from the past. Thanks to Miss Minnie for working on the scheduling between Calhoun County High School, Gilmer County High School, and the Career Center. She's been coordinating meetings with both principals to troubleshoot past problems. The Calhoun Gilmer Career Center schedule is also now on Weavis, which is tremendously convenient. I did have some updates regarding the School Building Authority roofing project, but you all probably know that the storm was not good to that roofing project last week, and some leaks pretty much made any update I had null and void. So they did get some water restoration folks out there, and it's dried up. It did affect a lot of the classrooms in the lobby, but it's darn near back to 100%. But that did obviously affect the roofing project they've got going on.
anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
And then I want to say that I've gotten several good comments from community members and everybody about how the start of school kicked off. Everybody seems that it's been smooth, not a lot of complaints or anything, to have to deal with or try to correct. I think it's good to see the growth that we're finally getting the personnel positions filled that we need that are important, like the accounting, getting finance back up where it needs to be, getting new growth and curriculum in different areas and special ed services and things. I think that's important. If we got a good team, we can give a better education to the students in the county. It's kind of like that resolution we passed this evening. I think too with those stipends, if people are doing good work, I want to reward them for that. I think that they need rewarded for that. And if we can keep moving in a positive direction and keep everybody upbeat, I think we'll be in good shape. All right. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The properly moved and second, we adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.